Thanks, Harsh. That helps us put in perspective what's going on the Paytm counter. Now, let's talk about the green energy push in India. Mukesh Ambani is calling out for the need for collaboration within India Inc. to make India a renewable powerhouse. And sharing that stage with him, where he was speaking at an event, was Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran. And Chandra, on his part, has gone on to say that without India achieving energy transition, listen in to what both these gentlemen have said.
If India has to become a renewable energy powerhouse, it is possible through the combined will and initiatives of many leading business groups working with the ethos of a national coalition.
We cannot count on the continuous increasing productivity in energy. In fact, we may have already peaked.
All right, let's break this down. Big statements coming in as far as clean energy is concerned. That's what the world is going to pivot towards. That process is already on. Where is India currently at? And can India Inc. actually collaborate to make it happen and achieve those goals and targets? Let's connect with Narendra Taneja. He's an energy expert joining us on the show. And perhaps later we'll have Mr. Chaitanya Kalia also join us as far as his vision is concerned, his understanding of the space is concerned at EY India. But Mr. Taneja, coming to you, how do you read into the statement that Mukesh Ambani has made about the need for a collaborative effort among India Inc. to pivot towards clean and renewable energy? How do you read into it?
Well, my sense is that, everybody knows that when it comes to renewables and especially energy transition in a country like India, home to 1.4 billion people, and huge potential at the same time, world of public opinion pressure on countries like India to do more in the direction of renewables, so it's all there. But of course, there are business opportunities. But at the same time, renewables, including hydrogen, is still a kind of unknown space for majority of corporates, not only in India, even beyond India. So therefore, when you look at the capital investment scope and everything is huge. But at the same time, when it comes to technology and capital, it's very clear you will need to collaborate more. You will need capital from wherever possible, including overseas. And the same goes for technology. So my sense is the statement made by the Reliance chairman is very clear that they see potential, but at the same time, they feel that probably the risk should be shared. Probably when it comes, because it's a bit of unknown area, as I said, that probably it will be a good idea to join hands with like-minded forces. It can be Tatas, it can be public sector undertakings, so on and so forth. All these companies, energy companies and oil and gas companies, including Reliance, are going to look very different 20 years from now and 30 years from now. And therefore, the collaboration means instead of competing with each other, if they collaborate, they'll be able to tap into potential a little bit more easily than otherwise. Because let's not forget the moment...
You highlighted a very important reason why this is happening, that there are risks involved. It's pretty much an unknown area. But the question is, for that, as far as Mr. Ambani is concerned, he's talking about collaborating so that some of those risks could get mitigated. But it still begs the question, is it possible for competitors to become collaborators when it comes to the business of clean energy? At best, it sounds like a clarion call right now, but do you see it possible? Is it feasible? Productive partnerships perhaps could be facilitated by the government and the kind of policies that it frames. How do you see it even happening?
Well, good question. You see, unlike conventional energy like oil, gas, and coal, which is predominantly, the government sector, even the private sector is there. But as you know, that's a different ballgame. But for renewables, you need a new DNA, a new thinking altogether, which none of these big corporates in India, including Reliance, Tata, they don't have it. Which means that, if really have to charter a new path, is better, which is more driven by technology and big capital than anything else. Then it's much better, that you collaborate instead of competing. In any case, all these companies will have to collaborate either with Indian, partners or with overseas partners. You will see very soon Indian Oil, ONGC going the same direction. Just wait for some time. They'll be collaborating with foreign companies or, Indian private sector companies. So mainly because it's all technology and big capital. So therefore, I think what basically the statement coming from both Tata and Reliance are very clear. They have studied it. They know what's basically on the horizon, and they know actually the clock is ticking because huge pressure on India to do more, which means that, is much better. You share the risk, you share the potential, and at the same time, when it comes to tapping into area like technology and all that, you do it all together because future is all about electricity. Future is all about hydrogen. Future is all about, they are also ambitious to become major hub for, equipment. Equipment is a major challenge, whether Reliance, Tatas, or any other player for that matter, renewable equipment manufacturing, there again. So sharing risk in equipment manufacturing, sharing risk in terms of tapping into potential, sharing risk in terms of energy transition, transiting from, conventional energy players to renewable energy players or the green energy players. Huge task, massive potential, but at the same time, massive risks involved.
So where is India currently right now on that count? What is the scope of growth for Indian businesses like Mr. Ambani's, whose core is, of course, traditional fossil fuels, already at the top of the year? We've heard him commit an investment of $76 billion in clean energy projects, which, of course, is a dramatic increase over the previous commitment of $10 billion. So where are we currently at? And where is that potential? How is it likely, as far as Mr. Ambani is concerned, Reliance is concerned, and several other companies within India Inc., how are they going to realize this potential?
Well, interesting question. The fact is, all Indian energy players, including the public sector and the private sector, is basically conventional energy in their DNA. They know how to handle it, they can see it, and they've done very well, including private sector players in this area. Conventional means oil, gas, and coal, etc. But this means that this requires a completely different approach. And this is going to be more technology-led. And at the same time, let's not forget the transition in case of India is going to take long time. Whatever the public pressure on India from climate lobbyists and so on and so forth, transition in India from conventional to renewable is going to be a marathon. It's not going to be something which we can achieve in 8 to 10 years. So when it comes to capital investment, yes, the company may be willing, the lenders may be willing, but at the same time, capital has a limited role to play in the sense that, India's overall economic infrastructure is so far today is all about conventional and fossil fuel. So this transition, infrastructure, DNA, to be able to realize this full potential, it's a long journey. The good, public support, investor support, policy support, so on and so forth. But as I said, the fact remains, wherever you look, east, west, north, south, policy, business, banks, everything, the fact is that this is a kind of area which nobody is familiar with.
Mr. Chaitanya Kalia is also joining us, Mr. Taneja. Let's get in his perspective too. Mr. Kalia, of course, National Leader for Climate Change and Sustainability Services for EY India. Great to have you on the show too. What is the possibility of a partnership, a collaboration among competitors? And what do you think, Mr. Kalia, this could mean for India's GDP? Can it create more jobs? Can it help India pivot and become more Atmanirbhar, more energy secure?
Thanks. And yes, absolutely. It will create many more jobs. And it's a significant positive step toward India being Atmanirbhar. On your first question, that can some of the large corporations can come together, probably they will come together in terms of defining policies, defining roadmap, defining, best class manufacturing of the renewable. As Mr. Taneja was saying, those things are possible, but can they collaborate on the business side? Probably how it happens is, the smaller player, they first come together and then the larger. So I don't think in the near term that is likely to happen. Everyone will charter their own path. And one of the key reasons being everyone has a lot of room to grow. We are still very heavily fossil fuel dominated economy, which we are very aggressively trying to move to renewable. So everyone has a lot of room to play in terms of the business to business collaboration on the same technology. Probably everyone will come with a different point of view, but they will collaborate on policies and, wherever the growth for the people, the planet, everything is likely to happen.
Well, for all those elements to come together, it's going to be a huge ask, and that is what we are discussing. But talking about it in more real terms, Mr. Kalia, the volatility in the global markets today because of oil supplies, the outlook on demand, how soon do you see that changing when countries, including India, could make that real shift towards renewables? Describe to us, help us envision that shift in the market scenario where we have so many dollar-priced commodities, chiefly oil.
So shift has started. I think that tipping point probably is yet to come. But with government of India stand in the last COP26 saying that, okay, this is what we want to do, defining clear path in terms of our own 2070 net zero target, and then translating it to the industries, I think that shift and that's what has already started happening, and which you see in the declaration and the commitment several companies they have taken. When I say tipping point, which means that there is no more emission and it is going to reduce. I think we have not yet reached that tipping point. I would say it is at least 3 to 4 years away, if not less.
A renewable powerhouse, could India really become that is the big question. Mr. Ambani is asking the likes of Tatas to come and collaborate when it comes to creating that possibility here in India. We'll see how much of that partnership actually happens and how much the government is able to frame its policies to facilitate some of that partnership as well. But for the moment, it's where we are leaving it. Mr. Taneja, Mr. Kalia, thanks very much for joining us on this discussion on India Tonight.
Thank you.
Meanwhile,